Yo, this dude, Deon Jenkins, is messy, okay? I'm all for all types of people who are serious about reparations due to Black Americans who are descendants of United States of America Chattel Slavery, okay? But we have to be selective as who speaks for us, okay? And we also have to be selective as to who knows the topic and knows how to articulate this conversation. Because I don't need a person, although I'm in New York, stating that if we don't get 800K, it's going to be some serious problems. We don't need people making those type of statements that can actually ruin this justice claim. Deon Jenkins, I gotta get the names right. Deon Jenkins is messy AF, okay? And going into all these Twitter spaces and popping, your mouth off and basically being disrespectful because he disrespected Marcel Dixon and said what he said, that let me know, because I witnessed that let me know what kind of person he is. So I'm going to say this. Be selective with who y'all have speaking at these forums, at these open events, especially political ones. So I'm going to talk about this because this is really serious. And yes, I'm a little bit sleepy, but I had to talk about this because this is bothersome. Hey everyone, it's your girl. Hopefully you had a good week so far. Hopefully you're going to have a wonderful holiday season with you and your families and, your loved ones and whatever. So we have to talk about the California Reparations Task Force because it's messy, not just on the side of the members who are on the task force, but we also have to talk about those who are speaking at the forums and going up to the podiums. But the one person I want to talk about is Deon Jenkins. I already gave my intro. So now we're going to get into it. I'm going to talk about it from two different articles. One being from New York Post. Shout out to my city. And also one from KRCR TV. That's out in California. So the New York Post writes, California activist Deon Jenkins threatens serious backlash, demands more in reparations payout. An activist warned California's Reparations Task Force of a series of backlashes if it does not honor the demands for a six-figure payout for eligible Black residents. Speaking at a meeting of the task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans at Oakland City Hall on Wednesday, Deon Jenkins argued that every Black Californian should receive a payout or payment of around $800,000. I'm going to say that again. Deon Jenkins argued that every Black Californian should receive a payment of around $800,000 to reflect average home prices in the state. KRCR reported, either they're going to comply or it's going to be a serious backlash, Jenkins said in an interview following the hearing. A self-proclaimed hip-hop organizer, Jenkins ran for president in 2016 and 2020 and launched an unsuccessful bid for Senate during the 2022 midterms. What a hot mess. At Wednesday's meeting, he and other activists rallied against an initial proposal for payouts of around $223,000. Defense, money, land, grants for elements of every society, every nation. A defensive structure, economy, land, and having access to that economy, Jenkins told the task force. If that is not being addressed, reparations will not hold. Reparations, repair, is the root word. We cannot have repair if those elements are not addressed. Social media star and triathlete Max Fennell also spoke on Wednesday, arguing that eligible Black Californians should receive a $350,000 payout in addition to 15 to 20 acres of land and $250,000 grants for Black-owned small businesses. It's a debt that's owed. We worked for free, he told the task force. We're not asking, we're telling you. Since 2021, the California Reparations Task Force has been the first group of its kind in the country to examine the case for reparations to California descendants of enslaved people. Fennell later posted a video of the hearings on Instagram, which he captioned, "Witnessing History with the Tribe." The debate continued on Thursday when Reverend Tony Pierce of the Black Wall Street Project shouted from the podium that $230,000 is not enough. I consider myself a foundational Black American, said another speaker, Carol Williams, according to the Daily Mail. Williams explained that she experienced homelessness since moving to California from Memphis in 1985. She argued that all reparations should be tax-free. The reparations should be tax-free so that when we get the money, the IRS won't come after us. I agree with that. I am pleading and asking that when we make the decision of lineage, we save those who have been in California since 2000. She said, "Oh Lord, I can't even walk down the street without being judged." A third speaker reportedly lamented, "There's nothing I can do in this world without being judged. Why should I be judged only by the color of my skin?" In a December 13 interview, Task Force Chairperson Kamilah Moore said the $223,000 estimate was based on economic research presented to the committee and represents the state's maximum culpability for housing discrimination. The figure only applies to those who were impacted by housing discrimination between 1933 and 1977. People of all races can qualify. I'm going to repeat this. In a December 13 interview, Task Force Chairperson Kamilah Moore said the $223,000 estimate was based on economic research presented to the committee and represents the state's maximum culpability for housing discrimination. The figure only applies to those who were impacted by housing discrimination between 1933 and 1977. People of all races can qualify, she explained. In reality, that number would be minimized when you take into account the fact that the task force decided in March that the community of eligibility would be lineage based rather than race based. She stated, per the Daily Mail. When you really look at who was really impacted by housing discrimination during that particular time period, it most likely won't be all Black folks. Moore opened Wednesday's hearing by highlighting the weight of the committee's task. It is important to get this right because we are setting the precedent for other states and localities, and also for the federal government as well, she said. The task force did not immediately respond to the Post's request for a comment on Jenkins' demands. The committee was signed into law by California Secretary of State Shirley Weber in September 2020, shortly after the murder of George Floyd by a white police officer in Minnesota sparked a summer of nationwide protests against racial justice. In addition to Moore, the committee is helmed by State Senator Stephen Bradford, Civil Rights leader Dr. Amos C. Brown, and attorney Lisa Holder, among others. The task force has until July 2023 to present its findings. That was a hot mess. But we're going to go deeper into Mr. Jenkins, because Mr. Jenkins, you are really being a stereotypical Negro. It reads, California activists ask for land and $350K plus in reparations. Warn of backlash if request denied. A recommendation to provide over $223,000 in reparation payments per eligible Black Californian sent to California's Reparations Task Force stirred a frenzy earlier this month over the high dollar amount. But despite opposition to the seemingly heavy-handed payout, some individuals think the task force is still hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and 15 to 20 acres of land short. The only group of its kind in the nation held the first part of a 2-day meeting discussing proposed guidelines and plans on how to disperse the taxpayer-funded reparations Wednesday. During a public notice and comment portion of the meeting, an attendee got up and requested the task force provide eligible Black residents $350,000 each in reparation payments, which is $127,000 more than initially recommended to the task force. Another attendee argued he thinks the dollar amount should be the median house price in the state of California, which is at least $830,000, the man claimed. The expansive and wide-ranging recommendations came from Max Fennell, a mildly popular social media personality known for his athletic prowess and as a triathlete, and Deon Jenkins, who ran an unsuccessful bid for the U.S. Senate during the midterms. Fennell added that, in addition to the $350,000 payout, each eligible Californian should be given 15 to 20 acres of land, and Blacks-owned small businesses in the state should receive $250,000 in grant money. Now, in a raw footage of an interview about the ongoing reparations discussion which Jenkins took part in and shared on social media, he suggested that either they're going to comply or it's going to be a series of backlash. It appears Jenkins' comments were in reference to the task force and its ultimate decision on how much would be given out. The National Desk T&D reached out to the Reparations Task Force. So this must be some new organization that's coming up, to inquire if the group had any comments on Fennell's recommendation during Wednesday's meeting, particularly in light of the criticism sparked earlier this month over the recommendation of the committee that it allocate $569 billion in reparations, which amounts to roughly $223,000 per person, the New York Times reported. Oh, Lord, this is up to be a hot fucking mess.com, I swear. And I am a total reparationist, but I just realized we're about to go into Capricorn season. By Sagittarius. Hold on. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. So it continues to read. T&D heard from the task force vice chairman, Dr. Amos Brown, who was appointed to the panel by California Governor Gavin Newsom. Much of the recent news coverage regarding California's reparations task force has been inaccurate and deceitful, Brown told T&D. The task force has taken a deliberate and common sense approach based on facts and evidence. Our process is well documented with input from the public, experts, and key officials, providing diverse opinions, objective analysis, and factual information. The work of the task force continues and will be completed in the summer of 2023 with the release of our final report. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going in. And I know it took a long time. I apologize about that, but I had to do it. First of all, Mr. Jenkins, $800,000 in reparations for housing. This is not about buying homes, using reparations to buy a home. This is about a reparations to pay a debt for those people who are Black Americans, who are descendants of chattel slavery in the United States of America. Okay? For you to make a demand of $800,000, okay, for each Black person, all right? Black Californians make up about, Black Californians make up about, and this is just Black Californians, okay, because I'm going to get to something, all right? Because everybody messed up in this. Black Californians. Black Californians, okay? Black population California. The Black population out of California is only 5%. Now that's jacked up. Okay? Or 6.5. I'm going to say 10, but I'm going to write how many Black people. Okay, so let me see. California population. California Black population. 39.24 million. Black California population. Black population in California. Okay, Black population in California. So if it's 29.34, because it's not giving me the amounts. I should have done a live with this. 39.24 million. Because I go on and on. Times 5%. They're basically saying that it's 1.96 million Black people, okay? But I'm more inclined to believe that it's 6.5. But I'm going to basically say that the 5% is ADOS, okay? FBA. You know, those that claim ADOS, those that claim FBA, okay? All right. Now, let's multiply this by 800K. They will have to shell out literally $1,569,600,000,000. That will deplete the economy of California. If you basically do it to where it's 223K, you will only have to shell out $437 billion. But here's the problem with this math. It's still going to hurt the budget in the long run. It's going to deplete the economy. So the only way you would be able to work this out, you would have to literally do something that I've been saying. You're going to have to break down everyone's lineage and state, okay, if you're 100% FBA ADOS, you get the full amount. If you're 75%, you get 75%. If you're 50%, you get 50. If you're 25, you're 25. Now, once you go beyond that, it's a little tricky because more than likely, you wouldn't be able to claim it if you're not at least 25% a descendant of American chattel slavery, because that basically cuts down on the amount and it saves the budget. Okay. See, you want to be fair economically to where people get the money, but you don't want to bankrupt the economy, because once you bankrupt a state's economy, what ends up happening is that the state has to be bailed out by the federal government. Now, if you mess up the federal government's economy, the country has to go to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Then you have to go through all these different channels, and you don't want to bankrupt the economy. What you want to do is you want to basically save it so that you'll still be able to get those political protections, because that's the next step. You don't want just the money. You want to be able to get the financial reparations, the political reparations, and you want to be able to get, I don't want to say agricultural, but you want to be able to get real estate reparations as well. Okay? Because those are the things that are of most value. Deon Jenkins is not a good representative, because what he just did, he not only threw everything into haywire and made threats, he took away the real core conversation that is going on that many people are not picking up. And that's why I read it twice. The Reparations Task Force in California has basically stated, and Yvette Carnell is laughing. Not laughing, ha ha, but she's laughing because many people are really missing this, because I'm listening to a lot of people platforms and they praising this amount, but you missed the big thing. You all got bamboozled, and I'm going to tell you why. Because on December 13th, the task force chairperson, Kamilah Moore, who did not agree with this, I want to make that clear, said that the amount that they voted on, which is $223,000, was based on economic research presented to the committee and presents the state's maximum culpability for housing discrimination. Now, this figure only applies to those who were impacted by housing discrimination between 1933 and 1977. People of all races can qualify. People of all races can qualify. So what this means is that in reality, it's not exclusive to descendants of chattel slavery in the United States of America. You just got played. You could throw the whole California Task Force array. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like Deon Jenkins. But let's be clear. You're focusing more so on Deon Jenkins' comments, going to all these Twitter spaces, beefing. Even today, I was listening to what was going on at Twitter space. Harvey Knashi, him, Sir Major, are talking about this Deon Cole man. I mean, not Deon Cole. I keep saying Deon Cole. Deon Jenkins. But Deon Jenkins is just a distraction that you can easily get rid of if you, one, don't allow him in the Twitter spaces, and two, really privatize Twitter spaces and then air them later on and just make it an invite only. But the big crisis is not Deon Jenkins. It's the California Reparations Task Force played all of the black people who are descendants of American chattel slavery in the U.S. You all played them because your reparations is qualified for all people. And you know why they did it? Because so the number would be minimized. Okay? Okay? Now it says in reality that number would be minimized when you take into account the fact that the task force decided in March that the community of eligibility would be lineage-based rather than race-based. They did that to make the number smaller, because with housing discrimination, how many cases of housing discrimination was really heard going back to people who discriminated from 33 to 77? How many of those people from 33 are still alive? You got 33, then you got 43. That was during the Great Depression and World War II. How many of those people are still alive? That knocks it off right there. Then you got to go to those who are still alive from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, capping it off 77. Okay? Most of the people who were discriminated, believe it or not, were Asians. They weren't, a lot were black, but most of them were Filipino. Because I've read the history of this shit. Like, it wasn't like black people couldn't go to certain neighborhoods, but you could still get a home. But with the Filipinos, they blocked them off to where you could only live in one section in California. And you couldn't even bring women over there so that you could procreate and have families. Okay? So they got cut off, like, in terms of just like having a family. Okay? Now I'm not, minimizing what we went through. But what I'm stating is that person who pushed that there, I think it was that Japanese man, because he was thinking about Asians. That's why he included it. So now you're going to have the Mexicans. because a lot of Mexicans were there. You fucked yourself over by not having Yvette and Tone on that task force. You fucked yourself. You could kiss this shit goodbye, because now they're going to make this the model for all over the country. You could if this is what it's going to be, as I always say, throw the whole goddamn thing away. Throw it away. Don't take the shit. Now, what I'm really mad at is that you got people praising this. Look, yeah, we're going to get our money. Yeah, you're going to get our money. No, it's only going to be given out for $223K, they're saying, on housing discrimination. So if you was not born in 77, you ain't getting it by 77. If you was a discriminated housing between 33 and 77, that's a 44-year period. You're not going to get it. You're not eligible. Or let's say your mama is still alive. Your mama was born in because I like to use this year. Your mama was born in 1947. Shout out to the baby boomers. And your mother graduated from college in 1960. I'm going to be real. Your mother graduated in 1971, okay? And got a job, and she wanted to buy a house. They told her, you could buy a house in this neighborhood, but the neighborhood you want, they don't want you because you're black and you're lower than value. Okay, she'll be eligible under this. But then there'll be a Mexican lady, the same age, happened to her in 71. They did the same thing to her. She will be eligible as well. This is not exclusively for blacks in California who are the descendants of American chattel slavery. This is a problem. And nobody sees this. Y'all praising it. Like, I mean, I got to keep it real. Like, I hear Tariq Nasheed praising it. I'm hearing, Dwan B praising this. This is not good. It's not about housing. It's about every damn thing that they did wrong to black people. Who ancestors built this country? We got to stop it. We got to be on the P's and Q's. And we have got to basically kick all the nonsense out the way, and we got to put our foot down. I'm in New York City. I'm not in California. I ain't never been to California in my life. And I know this is nonsense. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, nah. This is wrong. Y'all needed Yvette and Tone. Even if y'all don't like Tone, and I'm not a fan of Tone. I want to make it clear. I don't even watch Tone like that. But you needed someone who actually understood the politics of California and actually was doing the work. But you really needed Yvette more so than anything. You needed her. And look what you got. You got this whole nonsense going on in Cali. You're more focused on Deon Jenkins and his dumb antics. The plebiscite talk. And you got me in New York City talking about this. And I'm on the other side of the country. I'm on the East Coast. And you got me talking about this for over 28 minutes. And I think I need to just, go on and close this out. Because I think that we, as a people, we need to really be on our political education. And we don't have the political education right. We're messed up on the politics. And it's messing. We need political education, economic education to understand this so that we won't be, jammed up. Because if this passes, it's a mess. It's going to be a hot ghettomess.com. And we got to prevent that. And with that being said, your girl is signing off. And I'm going to watch Amazon because I need to clear my head with this. But thank you for listening and tuning in. Hit the notification bell, subscribe if you haven't done so. I'm going to title this Deon Jenkins and the California Reparations scam, because it's a scam. All right. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you later. I will talk to you later.